Hey guys, happy Tuesday. For some of our new leaders, my name is Whitney Hebel. I am your Upline Star Director. And every Tuesday I like to go live and just share a tip about something that I think would be helpful. And today I'm going to talk about trainings. So I'm doing a training on trainings. I asked a few weeks ago in this group about when's the last time you did a training. And I think it opened the eyes of a lot of people, but I wanted to talk about it a little bit more because with Scentsy, with the business that we're in, trainings are so important. I have my notes over here, so hopefully I stay on track. But everyone who's in this business and taking this business seriously and wanting to grow in this business should be doing especially if they're a leader. And a lot of times when I talk to people about, oh, will you go live about that? That's a training. So what is a training? A training is when you go live or you share about a topic. You cover and you talk about and you work with people on a specific topic. So as a leader, like I said, you should be doing a training. Start with making a goal with what you want to train on or how often you want to train. Because you have to think about it, guys. How many trainings do we watch a week? Hopefully, if you're a leader, you're watching quite a few a week to refresh yourself and to learn. But if no one did trainings, and a lot of times directors and above is who we watch because they're the most successful. They're higher. They're a higher status or title, but I believe that even if you're certified, you should still be doing a training because everyone has something to offer. I also think it's super important that the earlier you start and getting in the habit of doing a training, the easier it's going to be. Going live is tough, I know, for a lot of people. I don't like it either. It still makes me nervous. But I still show up because I know that my team, I know that it's helpful to one person. If it's helpful to one out of the 300 in our group, then I'm going to continue to do it. So what is a training? Like I said, a training, well, we already covered that. So who do we train? Let me be real clear on this. Even if you're a leader or a lead with one teammate, you're not just training that teammate. I see that a lot in this group and in my team group where leaders only focus on their downline or their team. And when you stop focusing so much on that one person or that group of people and you open it up to wanting to help your team, as in the team that you're on, or even people that aren't on your team, that's when you're going to see a difference in your perspective and the way that you think of things and the way that you learn in this business, okay? Our team is great, our downline is great, but this business is so much more than your 4 downline. I'm going to be completely honest with you. So that's where you will see. That's one of the things that Chloe had told me early on. She's like, what you are sharing, you need to be sharing more broad. And I was like, well, I don't really want to I don't know. I didn't want people to think that I knew what I was talking about and they should listen to me, to be completely honest. And she was like, yeah, but we're not worrying about the people who are going to be sitting there judging you. We are focused more on the content that you are sharing. If you're brave enough to go live and talk about something, most likely you know what you're talking about. Especially with people who, when you're asked to go live, guys, if your leaders are asking you to go live, first things first, they shouldn't have to ask you. They shouldn't have to ask you to do a training on something on their page. That's just something that I feel like is a part of this business. So when do you do trainings? Anytime you can, obviously. A lot of times people will do it in the car if you work full time, if you can't do it at home. I work from home. And you'll see that I'm always live at home because I don't have enough service to do it while I'm out. I don't have enough service to do a training in the car while I'm out doing my errands. So I always have to wait until I get home and make time to do it here in my office. Sometimes you'll see me out in other parts of my house, but I can't do it when I'm on the go. If you have good enough service to do it wherever you live, do it on the go. Do it on the way to work. Do it on the way home from work. Do it on the way to the grocery store. There's so many places that you can do it. It doesn't have to be where you're sitting in a quiet space either. You know, real life happens. We all have kids. We all have a life. I get that. But just know that what you're training on and the content is so much more important than what's, you know, going on around you. I'm not necessarily saying that you should have your kids running around crazy, but it's okay to have kids in your video. It's okay to have animals in your life in your video when you're doing a training. And how. So this is one of the things I hear most about training is especially when I posted that the other day and they're like, well, I don't know what to train on. So how do you decide what you're going to train on? Ask your teammates. Ask your downline. Post in your director's page. What do we need a training on? What do y'all need help with? What do you not understand? Do not be scared to ask people what they need. Every few months I ask on my team page and in this leaders page, what do y'all need trainings on? What do y'all need help with? I will say that whatever training you need is already out there, to be completely honest with you. You search what you need on YouTube, you're going to get that training. But coming from someone that you may personally know or someone that you work closely with, you may see a different side of it. So it's not going to hurt to cover the same topic that someone else has already covered. People honestly feel like I'm supposed to know what. So I did put a list of topics that people or that leaders could do a training on with the STAR directors. But when you're doing a training, you're really just picking a topic that either you're working on or that you see that your team needs help with or that you see other people need help with. So like I said, if you have a team of 3 people and you're one of those people, you're not just doing trainings for those 2 people. You're doing trainings for your director's team. You're doing trainers for your SSD's team. You're spreading your wealth, your knowledge that you know. And don't be selfish with it, guys. We have so many rock stars on this team that they're still scared to go live, but I will say that if you can't go live in here or on your team page, then it's going to be 20 times harder to go live on your personal page, okay? This is your safe spot. Y'all know I don't do negativity. The first time you do it, you're done. Like we're not doing that. If you don't have anything nice to say, we don't say anything at all. Yeah, and it's not necessarily about knowing. I have talked to my directors about this, how I have kept a running list of all the topics that I've done Tip Tuesday on. I've shared that in the director's page as well, because I know that sometimes it's like, well, what should I be training on? And like I said, that's when you go to say, what do you guys need? Now, like I said, whatever training they need is already out there. So if their problem is being motivated or not wanting to have conversations, then you can't train on that, to be completely honest with you. That's a whole nother issue. But if you have people who are hungry for this business and who are wanting more information about what to do, that's when that training comes in. When you're doing a training on a topic, what do you talk about? I don't even know what it's called, but I always do the who, what, when, where, and how. So of that topic, that's what I cover. Who, what, when, where, and how. Who do you train? Where do you train? How do you train? That's what I'm covering in this training on trainings, okay? And honestly, go to the 3 legs. Go to the 3 legs of success. On that page, there are examples of PRV. There are examples of sponsoring. There's examples of coaching. I feel that in this leaders page, we have a dependency on our directors to do the trainings, which is great. Directors definitely should be doing trainings weekly, if not more than once a week. But just because of your title, that doesn't factor if you can do a training or not. And honestly, like I said, the earlier you start doing it, the earlier you start getting the habit of going live once a week. And I'm not talking about the hashtag how I'm working. That is not training. That is sharing. That is showing people what you're doing, which is great. But we need to be like teaching people, training them, showing them how to do it. Tip Tuesday is not necessarily always a training, but it's something that I think could be helpful in their business, something that people need to hear. And a big part of training, honestly, as a leader is showing up. is showing up, because you will see that in a page, a team page or a leaders page where it's not super active, it's the same people doing the same thing over and over again, that's going to keep continuing. But when you see someone who you haven't seen in a while go live or talk about something, people, they jump on that, they attach to that, they want more of that. And so I'm asking y'all to be that. Yeah, ask your team what they need. It may surprise you, it may not. Even if you've done a training, if you haven't done, so I will speak for myself. Sometimes people will say, well, I need a training on PRV. And I'll say, well, what have you worked on as far as PRV in this past month? That's super important too, because sometimes people will just want to take, again, like these trainings, and they're not giving. So they're not actually putting the work in to do those things. So that's super important to keep in mind, but continue showing up for the one. I promise you that your director, myself, your SD, we will always be there cheering you on, especially if you're talking about super important content with our business. Sharing what you're doing, like I said, is great. But when you start talking about how you're doing something, or maybe what we could do better as a group or as a team, that's when you're going to start to see the growth, okay? And I'm not going to talk about this too long, but a lot of times we have leaders that come in here and they have a good amount of frontline, but none of them are active. What does that show me? That's a lack of coaching. That's a lack of training. That's a lack of communication. Why? Because they were active at one time, they knew what to do, and now those people aren't doing, a majority of those people aren't doing it, is what I'll say. You're always going to get those people who don't take it seriously, and that's fine. But if the majority of your recruits, the people that you sponsor, aren't continually being active or aren't being consistent with your numbers, you need to do a training on consistency, okay? So look at what the problem is in your team. There's always some kind of problem going on. No one's perfect. No team is perfect. And I will share the list of things that we came up with in SD running reports. Again, if you don't know how to run a report, you can't train on it. You are the company you keep. Cut the fluff. Branding yourself. That's the one I did today on my team page. On the compensation plan, leadership systems. Again, if you don't understand the compensation plan or you don't have a leadership system, then you can't train on that. So you need to take a couple steps back. You need to figure out what you're doing, and then you can share and train on it if it's working for you. Obviously, coaching, the importance of 500 PRV. Just share your journey to director. Why it's important to be paid at title. Your biggest mistakes, what you wish you knew from the beginning, your main focuses in your business, and what's an income producing activity to you. That's the list, real quick rundown of what the other SDs came up with. But like I said, when you start having more communication with your team on what they need, again, you can't train and coach on, you can train on consistency, but you can't train on being motivated. Okay. So that's a whole nother, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the people that want to learn, that need more, that need that extra push, or they need to know how to do something in their business. So that's why I'm talking to y'all today, because I want to see more leaders doing trainings. I want to see you on your director's page going live and talking about the who, what, when, where, and how of topics of our business. And that's all I had for you. I hope y'all take this and run with it. It will really benefit you in the long run. It will make you more confident in talking live and talking to your team and your director's team and your SD's team and your SSD's team. You will see that I always share what I do here in all the pages that I'm on with my SSD, because again, if I can help one, then it was worth it. So I hope to see y'all take this and run with it, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye, guys.